we talk about today's book, that is Element of Scrum. In IT industry, everybody is aware of the word Scrum, but no one has having the clear knowledge about what exactly the elements of Scrum are and how exactly we need to execute the Scrum to get the benefit of it. So today we are going to review the book, The Elements of Scrum. Authors are Christine and Hilary Johnson, and book is reviewed by Jignesh Wadia sir. So over to you, Jignesh sir, for the book review.
Thank you. This book has particularly three main chapters: the introduction to agility, Scrums, and the supporting practices. And this book is written by Sims and Hilary Johnson. Chris Sims currently, actually, he is a certified Scrum trainer and Agile coach. And so, this book is being written by the well-trained person. He has been helping teams improve their happiness and productivity. And Hilary Johnson, she is a former business journalist, and she has written on innovation, technology, and pop cultures for magazines and the Los Angeles Times. Okay, so before we move, as you know, the topic is about the element of Scrum. So before we move to the elements of Scrum, we just get a little understanding about what is Scrum. So majority of the peoples are things like Scrum is a one kind of method, but it is not true. Actually, it is a one kind of framework which employs a various process and techniques in order to deliver a right product. It helps in development of complex product where you more unknown than no one. For example, if we consider like one example, there is a one bulb, okay, and the bulb is not working. So what we do is pretty clear that we change the bulb and it start work. So what we do is we unhold the bulb, purchase or take a new bulb and hold it, and it started. Right. So everything is known by us. What we need to do. Right, but the Scrum will help us when the majority of things is unknown than known, because it asks for identifying the things, inspect the things, and then after adaptations. And it works in this particular cycle in repetition. So always it works like we identify the feature, we inspect the features, and then we adapt the feature. So it is based on the empirical process control theory called empirism. So it requires at a regular interval, the process feeds some input and feedbacks, based on which the plan adapts in the feature. So this is how Scrum works. So there are a few elements of the Scrum. There are three elements of the Scrum: Scrum Roles, Scrum Events, and Scrum Artefacts. So what includes in Scrum Roles? Scrum Roles, there are majorly three roles. One is the product owner, another one is the development team, and then after Scrum Master. Each of these roles has certain responsibility and accountability for certain outcomes. Then after, there is the Scrum Events. So Scrum Events, it's also one of the elements of the Scrum, and it has mainly there are mainly 4 or 5 events: the sprint, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. So it is designed to create regularity and rhythm in entire Scrum team. It is also used to minimize the number of meetings and improve the effectiveness. Why it is a help to improve the effectiveness? Because as we see in a Scrum, that the Scrum asks for regular feedbacks. All the Scrum's events are time boxed. There is a specific time decided for each and every event, which means they can end before time box expire, but not after. For example, if we say the sprint has, for example, the time limit of 1 month. So we have to complete that sprint in a 1 month only, and it can't go beyond 1 month. Yeah, we can get it done lesser than a month, but not beyond a month. And then after, Scrum Artifacts. So Scrum Artifacts includes product backlog, sprint backlog, and product increment. Product backlog, it is a ordered list of features that we are planning for development of a particular product. It is being prepared and maintained by product owner, and product owner is a one of the role of the Scrum team. It includes ideas, enhancement, bug fixes, and the documentation. And when we talk about the sprint backlog, it is a subset of product backlog. We take certain features from product backlog and decide the sprint. It is a list of items in a particular sprint. So what is yet not started, in progress, and done. So in a sprint backlog, we regularly inspect the process of particular sprint. That's why it has what is started, what is in the progress, and what is done. And product increment, that is the done features from the sprint backlog, or we can say also a product backlog, because the sprint backlog is a part of product backlog. So now we talk about what is a product owner roles in a Scrum. So product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of work delivered by the development team. Product owner is also accountable for a result, expressing product backlog item, order the product backlog item, where highest valuable item at the top, and then the least prior items. Ensure the product backlog items are transparent and well understood by the Scrum team and stakeholders. Because ultimately, product owner is going to verify the result, and he is going to decide the result is accepted or not accepted. So that's why it is very important for product owner that the Scrum team can understand what is going to be developed. Also ensure no one can force development team to work on any requirement other than product and sprint backlog. So it is also a responsibility of product owner. I give you one example over here. For example, there is the sprint, one sprint is decided. Okay. And the sprint goal is, and the sprint duration is about, for example, 1 month. And a particular team member is also decided. So they all clear with their sprint goal, and they decided what kind of product backlog need to be done. The sprint backlog need to be done by that particular sprint. And then the company, one of the person from the management or the hierarchy from the company, for example, we can consider the CTO comes. Okay, and CTO gives the one task to a particular team member who is actually working on a particular sprint. So when he asks the team member, the task assigned to the team member is out of the sprint. So it is the product owner responsibility to make sure the team work on the assigned tasks from the sprint, not the given by the CTO. And CTO has to understand that the team member is working on the particular sprint, and they are responsible for that to get done within a particular time limit. So this is the all responsibility or accountability of product owner. Now, next step is about the Scrum role development team. So development team is responsible and committed to meet the sprint goal. The development team decide the whatever the backlog which decided for a particular sprint role, they are responsible and committed to achieve that sprint goal, converting requirement from the product backlog into a done increment. Done increment here, there is a little bit difference within a done increment. Done increment, we say that I have done this. But here in a Scrum, the done means the releasable item, which we can release at any time. So it is a well tested and it is ready to launch. And the development team, they are a professional who are self-organized. Nobody is going to teach them. They should be a self-organized. They understand their tasks, how to perform tasks and get the desired result. Cross-functional, like a team member in a development team, that might be a team member with a different skill set. That's why it is a cross-functional. There will be a team member from front end, from back end, from QA, UI, UX, right? Maybe there is a team member of data entry. So that's why it is called a cross-functional. And this Scrum development team, ideally a team of 3 to 9 members, which sometimes including product owner and the Scrum Master, if they are working on a product backlog item. Other than it is a team excluding product owner and the Scrum Master. So Scrum Master and product owner are not a part of development team, other than they are working on particular backlog. Now about the Scrum Master, that is the another role of Scrum. So Scrum Master, we can say like a modern manager, and his or her responsibility is like a find techniques for effective product backlog management. They make sure every detail in the product backlog well understood by the team. Also, they help the product owner facilitate events requested by them. Checks for intermediates in the development process and removes them. For example, there is a development team who is working on particular sprint and they are facing some challenge about the machines, or maybe they are facing some challenge about the hosting. So there is the Scrum Master who provides help them, support them, and removes those channels. Basically acting as a servant leader for a product owner, development team, and the organization. He or she, Scrum Master, is also enabling the communication across the Scrum team. They create bridge between Scrum team and organization. So we can say Scrum Master is a mediator. Scrum Master is not like a responsible to get the desired goal. It is the accountability and responsibility of product owner. It helps in plan, lead, and coach the Scrum adoption process in the organization. So Scrum Master is also make sure that everyone understand about the Scrum process and they follow that. Whatever need to be done for that, Scrum Master will do. So this was about the Scrum roles. Now we talk about the various Scrum events. The first one is the sprint. So generally sprint is we can consider like a 2 weeks to 4 weeks. So if we consider it's a container event and the duration is about 1 month or less, it depends on how frequently you want to receive feedback and the market condition are changing. Based on that, we can decide the sprint duration, but it can't go beyond 1 month. It's always 1 month or less than 1 month. During the sprint, the development team creates a done and a usable increment. Again, it is the done and usable. That means it is a release. We can release the done feature at any level of the stage, at any stage. A new sprint starts as soon as the previous sprint is done. There should be not a much gap between new sprint and the previous sprint. Another event is the sprint planning. Generally, sprint planning is a time box of 8 hours. So it is for 1 month. If we consider the 4 weeks of sprint, if it is, for example, just 2 weeks of sprint, then this time box is about 4 hours. Sprint starts as soon as the sprint planning meetings end with order at sprint backlog. This meeting needs to be attended by entire Scrum team, no stakeholder. So Scrum team is Scrum Master, stakeholder is not considered in this meeting, product owner and the development. Scrum Master ensure that this meeting happens and everyone understand the purpose of the meeting. During this meeting, discussion will be on the following two things. What are the things that can be delivered as a done increment from a product backlog, and how will the requirements be converted into done increment? Do you see? The focus of this meeting is about the goal after the sprint. What can be achieved from a product backlog and how to achieve that. Just only two factors. What can be done? It is decided by the objectives or the product owner, dependencies of the development team, and the capacity of the development team, the past performance of the development team, and any kind of special skills needed. So daily Scrum. Daily Scrum is also another event of a Scrum, and it is also important during the Scrum process. It is a 15 minutes of time box event, not more than that. It should be done in an interval of 24 hours within a working days. It should be done on the same time and same place. In this meeting, the development team discuss what they will do in next 24 hours. So it is just a discussion about what development team is going to do within a 24 hours, not more than that. The development sheet, how they are progressive towards sprint goal. It is not for any in the detailed discussion. The concerned or connected team member can connect later to discuss in detail. So for example, if there is any point which going to take more than 15 minutes, then those concerned person can connect later to discuss on that particular point, but not discussed within or during the Scrum, daily Scrum, because the time box limit for the daily Scrum is the max 15 minutes. The main topic of daily Scrum event should be what we did yesterday, what we are planning to do today, and any impediments over there. So yes, they can discuss about what kind of hurdles or challenges will be there for the next 24 hours of task. And if it is again going to discuss beyond the 15 minutes, then they can discuss later with the concerned person. So it helps to save other times as it is not always required for product owner and the Scrum Master to attend daily Scrum. So Scrum Master and the product owner is not needed for a daily Scrum. It is a purely meeting of event of a development team. Now, next event is the sprint review. Sprint review mainly is a 4 hours of time box for a 1 month sprint. During this event, stakeholders and the Scrum team inspect the increments. Product owner tells everyone what has been done from the sprint backlog and not done due to the some reasons. Development team discuss on challenges they face during sprint and how they overcome or learn the lesson. Product owner talk about projections. Stakeholders provide more info about the marketplace. So these are the points which need to be discussed during the sprint review. So it is the meeting where stakeholders provide feedback to the done increment. So this is the meeting for, as we say, Scrum is a meeting like inspect and consider features as a increment, done increment. So each and every stage, we need a feedback from stakeholders or from client or from customers. So it is a review meeting for get the feedbacks, and also same times discuss on these points like stakeholders and Scrum teams between discussion. Product owner will share their understandings, what can be done, what's not done. Also, there is a point for the development team who can share what challenges they face and how they have overcome likewise. Now, another one is the, and also equally important event of the Scrum, it is a sprint retrospective. So retrospective is also important once the sprint is completed or once the sprint is done. It is a 3 hours of time box for a 1 month of sprint. The purpose of this event to discuss how the last sprint went with regards to people, processes, tools, and relationships. Identify improvements, what went well and what went not right. It is also there is the Scrum Master, who is also part of this sprint retrospective, because Scrum Master is also a member of the Scrum team, and Scrum Master will make sure there is no disturbance during this sprint retrospective, because there might be a chance that certain discussions might cause some disturbance, because it covers the talks about the people, covers the talks about processes, and also covers the talk about the relationships. So Scrum Master has to make sure there should be no disturbance and it's go productive and positive.
Thank you, Jignesh sir, for the wonderful introduction about Scrum elements. It was very in detail and very insightful.